Alright, so here is a System 6A MPU that came in. I've just got my ROMs installed here on the board. But the board came in with both LEDs locked on power up, and I actually swapped out both of the LEDs. The bottom one was really dim that you could hardly tell if it was lit or not. The top one was fine, but I don't have any of the colored lens, so I just swapped them both out so we didn't have two different lenses on there. But aside from that, we did all 0.156 headers. So as usual, the round pins had came off the board and square pins installed. We did not have a CPU installed here on the board, so we've got a new 6802 installed with a modification there for such. And the PIA that was here on the board was actually an AMI, so I was going to desolder it from the board, and I noticed that the pins were, they're almost snip flush with the board, so even putting it into a socket wouldn't have been reliable. But on top of that, it was actually bad. So we've got a brand new 6821 in place with the new socket. We've got a 100 UF capacitor, so the power input filter capacitor has been swapped out. We've got a total of 7 sockets, which is actually 8. So with this board, like I said, both LEDs were locked on, and the customer had actually did a modification here for the reset. And whenever I got the board in, what I had noticed is that the reset was staying low. So anytime you power on the game, you can put a probe to pin 40 here of the 6808 or 6802, and the reset should start out low and then go high, and roughly about a second there from power up. And this one was just constantly low, and being that the reset mod had already been done, I was just looking through, making sure everything was done correctly, which it was. All the jumpers were in the correct place. It looked like the correct reset generator was used, and so I was thinking maybe, okay, the 556 is pulling down the reset, which was not the case. I had pulled the 556 and put it into my tester, and it tested completely fine. And so what I had done is I had actually undid the MCP 130 GI modification, and what I have on hand is the 120 version, which requires a little bit different of a modification than also a pull-up resistor there. And so that's been installed there on the board, and we are back up and running. And again, we've got, let's see, a blinking LED installed and also NVRAM here on the board. So we've got a blinking LED installed there, and then also NVRAM to keep the batteries off the board to prevent any corrosion here in the future. So I've got my blackout ROMs here installed, but whenever you get this and populate it with your own ROMs, it's going to boot into audits. But since I've already powered this up before, we just go straight into game mode, and I've got my coin door switches in the wrong place there. But anyways, go through and test the displays. So this is all actually coming off of the MPU, and that is all working 100%, and everything else is just off of the driver, but we can basically just show the interface in between the two, and the actually kind of want to point out, because these tests don't really matter, like I said, all that's just done on the driver board itself. But I wanted to point out on this board, because I had noticed that only one of the flipper ground enables was activating here, and I pulled this cube topper off, and I noticed, obviously I've kind of outlined some of the corrosion here on the board, but my god, that snuck into the cube relay. And yeah, anyways, so this is just a test driver board, and all we're testing here is just the MPU itself. But obviously it's interfacing with the driver board correctly. Just run through the switch test there. But we are 100% good to go. So just to show what you should see here as far as the LEDs, whenever you're booting up, is you should get both of them power on and then off, and then your blinking LED should go, or should illuminate there, and we are in game mode, which, like I said, the first boot there, just make sure that the coin door is open because it's going to boot into audits. So with the coin door being open, you should be able to boot it up once and then power off and then back on, and you'll be in game mode there. Sorry, I was trying to picture it in my head while saying it, but we're 100% good to go. Thank you so much.